How's it going, y'all? John and Adam back here with Local Language, and this is part 2 of our first review on the shallow water stuff. If you haven't seen that, I'll put a link down in the description. You guys can go check it out. This is our blue water review of all the gear that we use for that. I'm just gonna jump right in it. So this is our gun setups. We're just gonna start with those and work our way through everything to show you what you need. So this is a Kowa 64. It has been given the name Lorraine. When we first got it, it just stuck, and for whatever reason, and that's been the name of her ever since. This is a 64-inch blue water gun, 4 bands with a slip tip. If you're not familiar with the slip tips, then it is just the end of your spear. There's a ball on the end of this shaft, and then this spear, this slip tip goes on the end, and you just, once you get everything set up and you get all your bands set, you just pull this little piece of rope tight, and then you'll tuck it underneath that band right there. So it keeps this tip on, because as you can see, it just falls off. Now you might be wondering, well, what's the sense in that? Why would you do something like that? Once everything's on and it's tight and you go to shoot it, obviously the force will keep the end of that tip back also. But when you go to shoot into a fish, when that tip comes off, it'll turn sideways, and it kind of creates a T so that when it pulls against the fish, it doesn't just rip out. And there's 2 different setups. You've got a flopper and you've got a slip tip, just like this one. This gun is set up for a breakaway, which we'll get into. First, I want to let Adam talk about his gun, about the differences in both of them, and then we'll talk about the setups that come with it, because they both are set up the same way as far as how you shoot the fish and everything attached to the gun. But again, this is a 64-inch Kowa, and then
mid plus, right?
I believe it's,
I guess the mid plus, yeah, and then you have the rear handle application.
Right. And this gun is again, this gun's a monster. It shoots extremely hard. It's like I always compare it to shooting a 308 in the water. I mean, if you're familiar with guns, then it is definitely, it kicks and just it blasts off. It takes off, that's for sure. But I'll let him go ahead and talk about his, and then we'll talk about the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, so I'm using this is just my raw bound 120 roller gun, and a lot of people probably maybe this wouldn't be their first choice for like just a blue water gun, but however, this is kind of my do-it-all gun, and this was kind of my way into a gun that I could blue water hunt with, just at a little more cost-effective maybe price point if you're looking for something like that. And this is the aluminum barrel. They make the carbons, yeah, it's certainly not got the power of something like a dedicated blue water gun like that Kowa, or maybe if you're looking at some other big wood guns out there. Because I mean, something like that, I mean, if you're suited to go after anything in the world, I mean, tuna over on the West Coast or something like that, you know. But around here, our area, this gun, I mean, I can dive the deep reef stuff with it, hunt snapper with it. I do have a reel set up right now, and I think we'll maybe get into a little bit of the rigging here in just a second. But yeah, I really like this gun, the size of it.
You got a lot of guys that shoot those guns too.
Right, yeah, it's a great length for kind of a do-it-all gun. It's just long enough to, I would consider it a blue water gun. Yeah, so it, I actually used the load assist to load this gun, and I probably won't show it all right now, but these 2 bands are loose right now. They just come down attached to these 2 posts right here, and then that's pre-tensioned. Then you use this little guy here with the hook on it, and you'll just reach up, grab right here, and you'll just load the gun back to the notches on your spear. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. Super low recoiling gun, super accurate, and I've had a great time already with it, and excited to get some more fish with it hopefully in the near future. So, and
your difference in your release on that, and in comparison to just directly pulling your bands back.
Right, yeah, so it's a little easier to load. There's another step involved, but as far as the actual physicality goes, it's a little bit easier gun to load. And maybe for you folks out there that don't have as much hand strength or something for a big gun like that, maybe you might want to look into something like this. So as far as the rigging goes, since we're already on this one, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do have the reel on it, and so when John and I we go out and we're doing a blue water drift, I have the reel. But what I normally do is I'll take this clip that comes on these Rob Allen guns, and I'll clip it off to a float line, and I'll let John talk about our float lines and floats and stuff. But I'll clip it to a float line. That way, we shoot a wahoo, we shoot something big. Some of these fish, guys, I mean, they will spool a reel like this in no time. They're extremely fast and powerful, and so it's a good backup. That way you don't end up losing your whole gun to a fish out there, to go ahead and clip it off to a float line and float. That way, if all else fails, you can just let go of your gun, let the fish fight the float. And so that's pretty much my setup on the Rob Allen, and then I think John wanted to say about the Breakaway on it.
Yeah, just because, so his is actually set up the same way. Well, not at the moment, as he said, he's got the reel on it, and he just swapped it to that for now because we were hunting in an area where the bigger gun was better, but needed the reel and not having all this stuff. So the things that are involved in as far as blue water, and again, his can be set up the same way. What he was talking about here was, and I'm just gonna we're gonna take this monster and. All right, yeah. So here we go. What he's talking about with the Breakaway setup. So you've got your tuna clip on one end of your float line. This is 100 foot of float line. You can buy at a dive shop or online. We've got a Rife, but they can get expensive. They get up $350, probably more than that, I'm sure. This one, those are bungees. This is not a bungee. It's just a regular kind of rubber float line. Your tuna clip goes right on the end here on the gun. As you can see, this is just a piece of bungee. So you've got your gun. This double wrap here goes all the way around and then connects to the top of the spear. And then as you attach your bungee, or your float line, then everything goes out. We'll just set that right there for just a second. All right, and then we've got our 100-foot float line. So you've got your gun, your float line's attached with a tuna clip, and then it goes to your float. So you're gonna throw your float out behind the boat, let it drift back, let all the line out, and then you'll have your gun. So again, this is pretty simple. The way that this works, it's just a float line. It floats on top of the water. It's attached from the gun to the float. The float is pretty much like just a huge bobber in the water. I have a Koa. Adam has a Florida Freedivers, which again, these have both been really good to us. They float, which is what you need it to do, and they haven't leaked on us. Mine is a flat style, his is more rounded. They have D-rings on the top, so that's where your tuna clip will go to hook your float line to. And I know the difference in his. I think yours is ballasted, right?
Yeah, so this one's weighted on the bottom to keep it running true through the water, so it's not spinning and causing tangles or anything like that.
Right, and then what this will do is, so when you shoot your spear gun, you shoot a big fish, a wahoo, mahi, just any big fish that's going to come swimming in, and if you are blue water and you got all this attached, it's really nice. So you're going to shoot that fish is going to run with your spear. The spear is going to completely detach from the gun, and it's going to start pulling on this float line and then start pulling on this float. So this float, again, is in essence a bobber that helps to fight the fish and to help keep track of your fish, to know where it's at as it's going across the top of the water. So we just wanted to show you guys real quick the difference in these two. We'll just run through it really fast. This, again, his is weighted. You've got a spot for a flag on the top. You inflate them. Mine can go, I believe, 20 pounds is his.
This is just measured in liters, so it's 15 liters.
15 liters. And then you can connect these two also. You can run through these D-rings and then connect from this one to that one. So if you're shooting bigger fish, say yellowfin tuna or whatever, I've seen on a few videos guys that have doubled up on their floats. Yeah. Again, both of them are great. This one's a little bit cheaper in price, which they're still both, this stuff gets expensive, but once you start getting into it, then it's necessary. You've got to have these things to do this. I've seen guys shoot with reels, and I don't know. I would just rather have the setup to be able to shoot the bigger fish and not have your reel spool out. But
I would say this too is beneficial for you. Maybe they do have like a hard float style, you know, that you can get. I think Rob Allen makes some and stuff like that. What's nice about these is if you guys are planning a trip or you're traveling, I mean, you can let all the air out of these, and these will collapse right down, go in your suitcase or whatever, and you can take them with you. This one's more of like a bicycle pump style nozzle. This is more of a proprietary thing, I believe, on the Koa, but you know, as long as you have your stuff with you, it's nice to just be able to pack these guys right away. You know, if you got a big trip planned or something, and yeah, it's a nice thing about these inflatable style floats.
Yeah. So what we wanted to show you guys, because it was something that when we got into this, you really don't have a lot of reviews on. I mean, you'll have people talk about it as we did, but if you're curious about how all of this works, I know we just talked about how it connects and everything, but sometimes it doesn't register or make sense until you've seen it work. So all I'm going to do is basically say the bands are pulled back. I pull the trigger. If I got safety off, pull the trigger, so the spear will come out. And then the gun's completely detached. I mean, that's it. You could take the gun, go throw it on the boat, and then right there, just like we had talked about, you've got your spear, and then your line is now attached from the spear to your float line, and then from your float line to your float. So as the fish is running, that's everything. That's the whole setup right there. So that's a breakaway system. That's how that works, and pretty simple. I mean, really, especially when you see it in action. Hopefully, we'll have some videos soon of that. I'd like to see some in action, but that's the gist of it. I mean, that's how it works. It's really simple. It's not anything crazy that you couldn't do yourself. It's at first it may be a little bit
Daunting.
Yeah, daunting. There you go. That's the word for it. Daunting, because you don't understand it. But that's it. That's how you everything's attached, and it just separates from the gun. Unlike the shorties, they're attached with a reel, or even that Rob Allen has his got it set up. Now his does the same thing. Like we said, it does have the breakaway system, but just right now he set all that up. And we're not going to go over this too extensively, but we didn't go over wetsuits in the last video. Basically, just we've got a 3.5 mil open cell, so this one isn't really breathable per se, so it doesn't really let water in, and we get cold because we live in Florida, so when it does get cold here, we like to stay pretty warm. So this is a Waihana. You guys don't have to get nothing crazy when you start. We had our Amazon specials when we first started, and then we upgraded, and you always can, but a wetsuit's important. I mean, it helps you to float a little more if you have trouble floating. It's this one has a whistle built in, so in case something happens. And there's also a set of pants that go underneath first, and then the top goes over. These are Goliath grouper Waihanas, and again 3.5 mil. And Adam also has a 1.5 mil, which is it gets warmer down in the Keys and stuff. Like it's. We dove down there once before, and it was, man,
There was some steaming in the suit.
Take the sweatsuits off, and it wasn't even these; it was the other ones we had. But
yeah, for wahoo season and stuff in Florida still, I mean, you can get pretty chilly out there, especially when you're doing long drift days and stuff like that. And I would seriously be thinking about a suit. Last thing you want to do is have a big trip planned or something and get out there and get so cold you can't continue. So
yeah, absolutely. And these guys, we've jumped off the boat and it's been the same temperature on the boat and in the water just because of that. You've got open cell and closed cell. The open is less breathable, and the closed cell lets water in and flows through. These suits here, I would definitely recommend. It's a little bit of getting used to. You know, you've got to have conditioner or some kind of lubrication to put the suit on, because if not, it's like pulling rubber up, and they're tight, so it's hard to get on. But definitely recommend those if you're interested in anything that we've. Oh yeah, we forgot about the drop flasher. That's really important there. This guy is. This is a shark magnet, but this is definitely, it's good for pulling in fish. We've got our set up, I believe, about 50 feet right now, and all it is just it's rolled up right now. But you've got all this flashy tape, all of these. It looks like bait fish is the point of it, and you unroll it, let it drop down and hang. It'll imitate bait fish and then draw in bigger fish. This is a Rob Allen. It floats in the water, completely detached from any of the other gear. It is not involved with any of this hooked up. All it is just a teaser. It helps to attract.
And that's the float, that's the Rob Allen.
Right. The float's the Rob Allen. You can get any.
I think this is the Merc Crew I think we have, and
The drop flasher, yeah.
It's a really quality flasher system for sure.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, like I was saying, it is a shark magnet, because every time we've dropped this thing in the water, sharks come in. But that's not a bad thing, you're gonna have them. That's something that's as we've gotten farther and farther in, you get used to it. You start to get used to it, and you realize, okay, they live there also. But if they're pulling in sharks, it's got to tell you fish are going to be coming in too, because the sharks think that if there's bait fish, they already know in their mind that there's going to be other fish for them to eat or what have you. So definitely recommend this. It drops straight down. It just imitates bait fish so that you can draw on your bigger fish.
Not even just blue water all the time. Even some deep reef stuff. Even if you're 50 feet down in some structure, it's great to put it out because you might get some pelagics swim by that, African pompano or your random whatever could swim by. And so it's a great thing. It's a great little tool to have anytime you're going diving for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's like artificial bait when you're just have hook and line, but we really appreciate you guys tuning in. If there's anything you got questions about, please just leave a comment. I mean, we'll do our best to answer the question for you. And this is just things that we've learned. We wanted to share, just show our gear review on. And if it's things that you're interested in getting, then you can at least compare the two. And that's why we've got this set up. We spearfish all the time together, so you'll see all the videos start with both of us in it. That's how it is, and we always buddy dive, and it's just. It's always nice to have somebody that's as interested in it as you. So it's again, that's why we went over the two different types of things we had. Once again, if you've got questions, just leave a comment down below, and please like and subscribe. We're trying to make more of these videos. We're trying to get out there and get more spearfishing videos going. And if there's merchandise, that's right. We've got some shirts, stickers, and some hats that are going to be coming out soon. And I'll post them up. You guys tell me what you like. If there's anything you'd like to see on them, we're going to try to get those out there. And again, I hope you liked the video. Hope that you got some information that we maybe didn't get when we first started. And we hope to see you soon. We hope to have a video out soon that you guys will enjoy and using some of this stuff out there. What's going on, guys? John and Adam back here with Local Language. Part 2 of the first video. This is our blue water review. The first one was shallow water. If you missed it, go check it out. It'll be on anything. What did I do? What happened? Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is John and Adam back here with Local Language, and this is our part 2 review of what am I doing? I don't understand. You're about to have to do this. Hey, how's it going, y'all? This is John. You're killing me, dude.